Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated Legacy action. For quite some time, the Epic Storm has been like the premier Storm deck in Legacy, but recently Ad Nauseam Tendrils has made a bit of a comeback and has been putting up some reasonable numbers at tournaments, so I thought I would do my due diligence and show off this deck to you, and how it's different from other Storm decks. So, we are still killing with Tendrils, and we're trying to assemble a mass of mana and spells, using things like Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and all that sort of jazz, recycling it all with Parting Flames, or just drawing a big chunk of our deck with Ad Nauseam, and then having enough resources to go off. Where we differ though is we're a lot less dependent on artifacts. So we only have the Lion's Eye Diamonds and the Lotus Petals, so we're a little bit less vulnerable to things like Collector Roof. We also have a whole critical mass of cantrips, so we're trying to create the perfect hand and the perfect amount of disruption off of these Thoughtseizes and Duresses, and then go off. So we're a bit slower than some of the other Storm decks, but we can still just go off super early sometimes as well. And we use Infernal Tutor as our main tutor engine, so we can use this and go and get like another Dark Ritual or whatever from our hand. Or if we're hellbent because we've cracked a Lion's Eye Diamond in response to our own Infernal Tutor, then we can go and get whatever we want, which is how we do like Ad Nauseam lines most of the time. This deck, because we're trying to cantrip and construct a hand, we're going to be slower than some other Storm decks, but we can sort of weave our way through hate a little bit better and sculpt because we have the tools to do that. So it's going to be a sort of different sort of game to all the Epic Storm decks, but hopefully we can put Tendrils in our opponent's face many times. We also have Parting Flames, so we can play through a graveyard line as well. We've got a couple of Burning Wishes, which are going to be finding us Massacres for things like Teague and Thalia or whatever. Peering to the Abyss is just another big draw engine where we can just take our whole deck, or half of our deck, into our hand. Tendrils of Agony for when we need to find this and we don't necessarily have the Tendrils or the Infernal Tutor for it. This is another way of getting our kill condition. We also have an Empty the Warrens in some matchups where we can just smash this down early with a big number and win the game. In terms of other sideboard things, we've got this Bayou that we can bring in when we bring in the Xantid Swarm or the Abrupt Decay. We've also got some bounce spells of varying varieties of Chain of Vapor, which we can use to bounce our own spells to generate Storm count and then bounce the problem permanent. Echoing Truth just to get rid of all of copies of a problem permanent, like multiple Deafening Silences, that sort of jazz. And we've got Flusterstorm to protect ourselves against a counterspell heavy deck. Flusterstorm is an odd one though, because it doesn't pair very well with trying to be hellbent with the Infernal Tutor. And that is basically the deck. It may look relatively simple, lots of nice 4-ofs everywhere, but playing this deck is anything but simple, and there's a lot of interesting lines and decisions to be made when we're cantripping. I'm not a Storm guy, but I'm going to try my very best to see how we can Tendrils of Agony many opponents out today. Alright, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see my content early, it's just £1 a month to do that. And it supports the channel, whilst also getting you access to videos before anyone else. Okay, let's start jamming some Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Alright, this is my opening hand for the first round. We have some cantrips to find some stuff. We have an Ad Nauseam. If we can string together the right rituals, we can put this on the stack. We can disrupt our opponent a fair bunch. We're a little bit cold to Wasteland here. I am not a Storm player, so my metrics are not going to be ideal on this one. But if we can cast an Ad Nauseam whilst we also have another 4-drop in hand, it means that we're probably going to be able to go off with it. So we just need to find the spot. So we've got the disruption to make this happen. We're just looking for mana. I think that is fine. Our opponent's going to know we're up to no good when we cast a Preordain on turn 1. I think we are casting a Preordain. We're looking for the land rather than trying to poke a hole just yet. I think we'll go bottom with both of these. We're just looking for mana at this point, I think. Okay, we found some more mana. It's only a land, but this means we get to disrupt our opponent and Preordain next turn. Mother of Runes. Okay, so we definitely want to be Thoughtseizing. Our opponent was a Yorion deck. We didn't know if they were going to be one of the big control-y decks, or they're going to be in the Death and Taxes ballpark. Alright, let's tap our mana correctly. I think we want to Thoughtseize here, because we might be looking for something different depending on what we see. They do have a Thalia. Let's get rid of that. Let's pop out their hand that we know. And time for more Preordain action. 2 Dark Rituals. Well, that's exactly what we wanted. So next turn, we can put an Ad Nauseam on the stack, draw enough of our deck to kill our opponent. A Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. So we have full information of our opponent's hand. Are they going to attack us for 1 here? No. Being cowardly. I understand. Right, so play this one out. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Ad Nauseam. Yes, I'd like to repeat the process. We just keep drawing. We need a little bit more starting mana here. But the highest mana value in our deck is 4 at this point. So we can just keep going until we get that low, I think. No Lotus Petals. Still no Lotus Petals. Interesting. Does this hand work? We need to Brainstorm into Lotus Petals. There is a chance if we do this one more time, we just die to a Tendrils of Agony being flipped. It's not ideal. We still have a land drop, so we can Cabal Ritual. But we only have the one Cabal Ritual. Do I think I can get there with these Brainstorms? 34 cards left. Or do I need a little bit more mana? I think we do need some more mana. I'm going to take another card. We found the Lotus Petal. Okay. That's probably enough now. So we'll play out this Lotus Petal. So we've got Storm 5. Probably play out an Underground Sea here. We can use the Lotus Petal for red mana if we need to in a bit. Do we need to Brainstorm first? We probably do. We can also just go through a Past in Flames line here, actually. That works. Actually, yeah, why don't we just... Do we need to do that right now? Okay, so if we just play this out and cast this... How much have we got in the Cabal Ritual? So we tap this for red mana first. And then we have Threshold. So when we cast this Cabal Ritual, it gives us loads of mana. And then we can... Past in Flames here. So if we crack this for triple black, I think is the correct one. We don't get more red mana. Actually, we don't get any more red mana to cast the Burning Wishes if we want to do that. But we don't really need to do that. If we crack it for triple red, we can leave one red floating afterwards. So we have a nice big graveyard. We can cast this Dark Ritual. And this Dark Ritual. And there's a Cabal Ritual in there somewhere as well. We've got Storm 10. We can cast Infernal Tutor. We can go and get this Tendrils of Agony. Point this at our opponent's face. And I've successfully navigated a Storm kill. Albeit a little bit slower than the experts would. But we've got there. We have perfect information on our opponent's hand, so we have nothing to worry about. Alright, we managed to win our very first game. Good times. Let's see what we want for the sideboard. So this is probably where we need to be blowing up some of their scary creatures. Or bouncing some of their permanents. So I'm expecting Deafening Silence. I don't think we're going to be looking at the Mindbreak Traps. You don't see that often from the Death and Taxes decks, but it is possible. So we want some combination of these things, which means we probably also want this Bayou if we're doing this. I think because they're going to be attacking our mana, we might want the Bayou as a land that we go up on, because we're just going to have to worry about our mana getting attacked via wastelands and ports and things. So the Duresses don't seem that useful. So the Thoughtseizes, we can take out Thalias, we can take out a whole bunch of stuff. The Duress can only take out Deafening Silence, and if they have that, it's coming down straight away, right? So this leaves us trying to find 3 more cuts. So we could just trim some of our cantrips. Something like this. Do I want this additional land? I think I do, because wasteland, we only have one basic to play on, so we're probably going to want this Bayou as an extra mana source. I could be wrong in there, and maybe there's some Storm experts out there who want to tell me how I'm supposed to do it, but I think I like this plan a little bit. Maybe this is too defensive. Maybe we're not supposed to board in all of these things. I could see that. Maybe we get rid of... Do you want to get rid of the 2 Echoing Truths, or we get rid of those 2 and bring back in 2 more Preordains? So we got 4 answers that we can sculpt towards. Okay, yeah, I can get down with that. I think there'll be some matchups where you replace a land, probably an Underground Sea, with a Bayou. But I think in this particular instance, I want to be having a little bit more mana so that we're not getting wastelanded as much. What does this hand do? We can Infernal Tutor for another Dark Ritual. And then we can have a Dark Ritual into Past in Flames, some more Dark Rituals. I think this gets us where we need to be eventually. We might need a couple of draws, but we've got a Ponder that we can fire off. We're going to need red mana if we're trying to cast this Past in Flames. So we're going to have to make a really key decision about what land we're fetching if we're fetching on turn 1. So if we go and get a basic island and we're protected from wasteland for a turn cycle, we don't have to worry about our mana getting taxed. However, we won't have the red mana for Past in Flames. Now this is something for later on anyway, for the most part. We're going to need a couple of turns before that works. Okay, there is a Deafening Silence. So this game is probably going to take a little while. So I think we are now going to get the basic. Or are we supposed to save this to get the green mana for our Abrupt Decay to kill this? A Lotus Petal. Okay, I think I'm going to keep this for the Abrupt Decay so we can actually cast our spells. If it wasn't for this Deafening Silence, I would very much like this hand, but I don't think we can do this. Any order and shuffle, please. Cabal Ritual. Okay, so we're just looking for one of our 4 outers here. But we have, what, 12 cantrips to find them as well. And our opponent's hand might be a bit soft because they kept it on the basis of this Deafening Silence. On the play, maybe we want the Duresses in so we can take out a turn 1 Deafening Silence. This Phantasm is a little bit awkward. So this lets us get a basic land. So we have 1 basic land in our deck. So the Abrupt Decay is now significantly more difficult to cast. We can play out a Lotus Petal to help us cast it. We don't have much here. I'm trying to work out what the correct play is. So we could... We're going to play a land. We could Infernal Tutor for a Dark Ritual so that if we can get rid of this, we can just go and win. That seems reasonable as a strategy. We don't have any Surveil lands, do we? No Surveil lands. The other option is to just play out a Lotus Petal here. Alright, I'm going to Infernal Tutor here, I think. This takes out a card from our deck. Yeah, it takes out a card from our deck, so it slightly thins us towards where we need to be. But also means that as soon as we find like a Chain of Vapor, we can just bounce this and then go, right? So we have 1, so this is 3, 4, 5. This will be plus 3 mana, 6, 7, 8. We crack this. So that's Storm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I 1 shy? No, 10 because we'll have the Chain of Vapor as well. Yeah, okay. We've got a little bit of time and we don't need to do an Ad Nauseam line. So our life settle is something we can rely on. Wasteland, obviously a problem for us. We did mention that earlier. No, they got something worse for us. Flicker Wisp. Okay, they're going to blow up our land with the White Orchid guy instead. It's kind of like the same thing, except this way they get 3 power on board. So I think it's the correct line for them. Kind of wish I'd have just had more answers in my deck. Some inexperience with the archetype. Certainly come back to bite me a little bit here. Alright, so we don't have any more basics. We don't have any like cards on the bottom via Preordain or anything. So it doesn't matter that we shuffle there. A Ponder. Fetch land is actually really good here. Lines are down, Preordain. So we could take the Preordain for next turn and then shuffle away. Problem with doing that is we are going to expose another land to this wasteland that our opponent has. I think that's still okay. Is that okay? Because then this has to crack before we go to our draw step if we want to do that. But this way we get to see 3 new cards instead of 1 new card. Or well, I guess we see 2 new cards. Yeah, well, we can't crack this now because I'll wasteland it, so we have to draw this card first. So we could Preordain, just take the card off the top and not expose our land, which I think we have to do. Ugh. No, I don't like the play I made before. Should have shuffled off the Ponder. I'm not opposed to Scalding Tarn, but I don't think that's what we need to do right now. I think we're just trying to find the right pieces. Oh, we can't play anything else, so we're going to have to discard here, aren't we? We'll probably just discard the Parting Flames because we can cast it from the graveyard. If they get a Lion Sash and remove it, that is obviously awkward for us. Yeah, I don't like how we pondered. We should have just pondered and shuffled. We're just looking for specific, very specific cards here. Shadowy Backstreet. So this time we probably have to play out the Lotus Petal. Unless we're, like, we can dig towards specifically the bounce spell. But if we're looking for the Abrupt Decay, we need to play out the Lotus Petal so we can at least cast it. If we draw it next turn. But if we draw it next turn, we have to then... We could probably win with our hand via a Parting Flames line with these 2 LEDs. We just need to clear this Deafening Silence. Yeah, definitely should have just had more interaction. I was worried that not having enough cantrips would be an issue for us, but that doesn't seem to be the problem. Spirit of the Labyrinth doesn't impact us. Not that, because we're dead next turn anyway, so we're on a 1 outer. Well, not 1 outer. We have 1 card to draw, and we did not draw it. So I think we can scoot that up and reappraise how we approach this one. I think I will get rid of some Preordains for the bounce spells. Have a little bit more action. So we could have the Duresses in, so if we're on the play, we can just Duress away the Deafening Silence, but that becomes a lot less good if our opponent draws it on like their second or third turn. I'd rather have the bounce spells. We could trade one Preordain for a Duress, but I think we're just fine as we are here. We've still got the Thoughtseizes, which are a lot more flexible in what they can hit. So we have the answer card. I'm going to need to construct something here. I think we can keep this though. So the plan is Ponder will help us out in a big way. I don't think we need to Thoughtseize right away. Okay, our opponent's mulling into 5. We could Thoughtseize straight up. Our opponent should be unfavoured in this matchup. We should have the edge because they don't interact with what we're doing very much. They have a few big haymakers that they can throw down, like the Deafening Silence or like a Thalia. Okay, I think I would like to Ponder here first. Intriguing. I like the Dark Ritual here and the Ad Nauseam. So what we can do is Infernal Tutor, get another Dark Ritual, and then go that way. Because we'll have enough mana just to put the Ad Nauseam on the stack. We're going to see Deafening Silence. Mother of Runes. Don't care about that one. Also shuffle our library so we don't draw the additional Chain of Vapor we don't really need. Okay. So if our opponent has nothing, we can try and win the game next turn. And we do get to Thoughtseize before we play our Ad Nauseam. Rishdam Port. Okay, that would have been pretty good here. Athalia. Okay. So we have something we have to deal with, but that's fine. It's probably what they've kept their hand on the basis of. I don't believe we need to play anything out here. We're just going to go to their end step, Chain of Vapor, their Thalia. That doesn't really work, does it? Because of the Mother of Runes. That's awkward. Mother of Runes actually doing some stuff here. So we need to get like another piece of interaction. And now we're going to be under Rishdam Port. Yeah, I think our opponent's going to beat us. Okay. So I think the plan should be differently to how I've laid up here. So we're going to need to start playing out some LEDs and stuff so we can get through this Thalia. So we need to find some more lands. I'm glad that I boarded in the other land. We were supposed to Thoughtseize there instead of Infernal Tutoring, ready to go the turn after. So I figured the Chain of Vapor could just hit the problem, but obviously the Mother of Runes stops that. It's just my inexperience with playing Storm. It's coming back to bite us. But a lot of people have requested that I play some Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Aetherfile can come up and do stuff. They're not porting us this turn, which is good news. So we could... So the Dark Ritual makes 2 mana. Sorry, makes 1 mana. So we go up to 3 mana, and we go up to 4 mana. So we can't quite do what we need to do right now. We can just play out 2 more Lion's Eye Diamonds. So if we can put an Ad Nauseam on the stack and in our opponent's end step, we can draw a bunch of cards, and we should have the resources to get through what our opponent's got down. If we draw a land, we could do an Infernal Tutor line just to clear their board. That doesn't feel very good though, because we won't have any resources left. We get imported, get rid of our blue or our black. Going for the black for the rituals and stuff makes sense. A Brainstorm we can't cast. Yeah, we're just getting bodied by this Thalia. Thalia's not actually in a lot of Death and Taxes lists at the moment, which is why I didn't prioritize thinking about it, but I really should have. We'd already seen it before. They must be on 4 if they're running it at all. But yeah. Should have just Thoughtseized instead of Infernal Tutoring. So we should have thought, if they didn't have a Deafening Silence, what did they have? It should have been a Thalia. We definitely could have puzzled this one out. Now we're just going to lose to very slow beats, and the longer this goes on, the worse the Ad Nauseam gets for us. We'll lose our Black Source again. Right, Aetherfile, what are you putting in? A White Orchid Phantom. Sure. So we could cast a Dark Ritual here to go up to 3 mana. Then we go up to 4 mana. Then we have 5 mana, so we're still 1 shy of being able to Ad Nauseam here. It's very annoying. And now we draw on the Abrupt Decay. which would allow us to have 2 attacks of our opponent's resources. So they don't get to cast any spells here. We're going to take 4 next turn. We need to find a black source. We're going to get ported off a lot. I don't think we're going to have the ability to do any Brainstorm stuff here. Yeah, I just don't think I've played this one very well, to be honest with you. So this Ad Nauseam is just getting worse and worse. Again, double ported. I don't think we can win this one. We need to draw a land this turn if we have any hope of winning this game. Did not draw it. All right, I'm happy to scoot this one up. Yeah, I think our opponent deserved that one. We didn't play that one as well as we could have with the tools we had. We should have Thoughtseize when they didn't play anything out on turn 1 apart from this mother. But I don't remember if they. I don't think they played something on. Did they play something on turn 2? No, they must have played the Thailand on turn 2. Yeah, we definitely could have just beaten that with our Thoughtseize. That's on me, that one. Let's go to round 2. Alright, this is a hand I don't particularly like. We don't have any ways of improving it with a bunch of cantrips or whatever. The Infernal Tutors aren't really doing anything for us. If we had some Dark Rituals, maybe, I think we can mulligan and get something a bit better. We have a lot of cantrips to try and fix this hand. I think I'm inclined to... So, the Preordains and the Brainstorm want to do different things. The Brainstorm wants you to put the cards you don't want away and then shuffle them. The Preordain wants you to put cards on the bottom and then not shuffle. So I think it makes more sense to keep 2 Preordains than a Brainstorm Preordain here, even though Brainstorm is objectively a more powerful Magic the Gathering card. That is an interesting thought, isn't it? Alright, we'll try it. We'll try it based on that logic. That could be wrong. Let's have a little Preordain action. Badlands, I don't mind. We do need this land. We don't need this Duress though. Right, so we've got a starting black source that isn't a Lotus Petal, so we've got a little bit more solidity in our mana base here. Wasteland. Alright, goodbye Volcanic Island. So now the Preordain is a little bit stranded unless we want to fire off this Lotus Petal. I think I'm going to Duress my opponent and see what they're working with. Chalice of the Void, Chalice of the Void, Lotus Petal, jeez. Not a big fan of this. So they're going to play a Chalice on 0 in a second. So if we take this Chalice, their hand's kind of slow because they don't have the ability... Actually, they can play this Fleshraker, right? Off the Temple. So we take the Lotus Petal to stop them playing Fleshraker. But then they have 2 Chalices. I don't think we can beat double Chalice. We have to take one of the Chalices here. Play this out. I think we have to Preordain here. Burning Wish, Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond is quite useful here. What do we have on our sideboard again? Let's check. We don't have a big engine card, do we? We don't have like a Pass in Flames or something that we can rely on. So we need more mana to get these Cabal Rituals off the ground in the first place. I do like the Lion's Eye Diamond. So what are we actually looking for here? Like the Burning Wish is the payoff. We just need some more mana. Maybe we bottom the LED and keep the Burning Wish. Although, yeah, because we expect our opponent to put the Chalice on 0 now. To ward off our LEDs and stuff. So this makes sense. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see a Chalice of 0 this turn. Like, I suspect it's going to be Fleshraker, Lotus Petal, Chalice on 0. And they get 2 pings along the way. Just a Yavimaya and nothing else. That's very strange. Another Duress. Okay. I'm happy to fire this one off. I guess we're just going to take this Chalice of the Void. This is a land. What does this do? Return up to 1 historic card from your graveyard and then exile a graveyard. So this is like a tunable graveyard hate card. Pretty cool. Is this New Capenna or something? I don't know what symbol that is. Assassin's Creed, maybe? Why aren't they playing out their spell to pressure us? That's so strange. Alright, we have a card we can't cast. That early Wasteland was pretty annoying for us. I've definitely seen builds of this deck that run 1 swamp, 1 island. I can understand why you might want to do that. Alright, a Wasteland. Devastating. Why don't you want to cast your creatures? There we go. We're finally seeing a creature here. Are you going to play the Petal Art? No. Another Ponder. We are in the dirt. So the Epic Storm doesn't need lands in play as much as Ad Nauseam Tendrils does. And also that deck is a little bit lower to the ground because it's just trying to wheel into zeros. So we are Okay, that's why they were sandbagging the Petal, because they had another Fleshraker. But we did take a look at their hand and didn't see the second Fleshraker earlier when they could have played it out a turn earlier. But now they're also doing IV against stuff. So if they have any more Eldrazi's, they can cast them here. Like they have 8 mana available right now. They also have a piece of Greywood Hate, so Past in Flames lines are not going to work for us once they get this in play. Found a land. I don't think we have any choice about what we're getting here. I think we just have to get the Underground Sea because we need black mana. Right, let's ponder. Ad Nauseam. That feels too late. How much damage are you going to take this turn? Only 4, so that's going to put us to 7. And the fetch down puts us to 6. But I think that's probably what we have to do. Now, they didn't play any colour spells last time, which means they didn't have another spell in hand. But if they play this land out, we can't win via Past in Flames. So our best bet is to have a fortunate spin of our Ad Nauseam here. Okay, they found a spell. They're going to go get back this historic card. This will ping us for 2 as well. Actually, it'll ping us for 4, right? Because he's... And then we'll take 4. And then we're on 3. Gonna be a difficult one. Okay, they put Chalice on 1. We're going to be on 3. Oh, wait, this doesn't... This doesn't sacrifice. Oh, these have 1 in hand. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. Are they doing this for 2? They are. Yeah, we're absolutely done there. Okay, so what looks good here? I would very much want these Abrupt Decays. I think we want the Echoing Truths over the Chain of Vapor because they quite like to have a Chalice on 1, so I think this makes more sense. We're not going to have a time to be preordaining around, so I think we can get rid of those. Do I want this extra land? I think I do want the extra land. We can take out Duress here. And we'll try this. I'm not overly confident in how I'm sideboarding with this deck. I'm just trying to apply some sort of general logic to it. I am very much not a Storm player. There are many great Storm players out there. I am not one of them. Okay, so we can go get an Underground Sea and take out something they've got for us. But then what are we doing? We don't really go anywhere with this hand. We don't have any mana. I think we're supposed to mulligan this one. Because what's going to happen is we'll disrupt them a couple of times, but they're still going to have pressure. And they're going to have some amount of disruption that we can't deal with. Whether they're, you know, maybe we take the Chalice, but then they thought not to us or whatever. So I just think we need to mulligan to something that actually has a game plan it can execute. Okay. This is pretty close to casting an Ad Nauseam. We'll just put back one of the LEDs. We'll play out... we'll play out this LED so it can't be caught by Chalice of 0. Am I going to Brainstorm now? Is there any point in brainstorming now? I don't think we can brainstorm in a way that means that we get to Ad Nauseam this turn. Because sometimes you can put stuff on top and then cast a cantrip, crack some LEDs and do that sort of jazz. But I don't think that's what we're doing right now. We're just looking for a black source. We can brainstorm in response to our opponent's Chalice, if they have one. Ancient Tomb. Just going to Chalice for 1. It is a Chalice for 1. I will respond with a Brainstorm. This is pretty awkward, isn't it? Okay, so we're just stuck with these unusable cards now. And a Chalice of 0 to follow up. Okay, well we can beat what our opponent is doing, but not in any sort of reasonable time frame. Because we don't have the mana here. That Brainstorm locking is pretty problematic. And the fact that this is a blue source... Okay, our opponent kept their hand on the back of prison pieces, so maybe we've got a little bit more time. But we don't have forever to wait for our opponent to kill us. Thoughtseize. Okay, they're going to take probably our Abrupt Decay here, even though we're very far away from casting it. It's the one thing that gets us out of this hole. If they have a second Thoughtseize down their stretch, they can take out the other one, and then we can just scoop it up. We do have Echoing Truth, which can bounce both of these. That's kind of what we're hoping for. It feels like our deck is probably better positioned into slower decks where we have time to use all of our sculpting tools, Whereas I think Legacy is quite fast for us to be spending a bunch of turns sculpting. They took the Ad Nauseam. Okay. Like, I can see why, but we're going to be taking so much damage that I doubt there's going to be a viable route to victory. A land, not a land. Okay. So we need to take at least 8 damage before we can put an Abrupt Decay on the stack here. I guess we could find a Brainstorm. No, we can't find a Brainstorm because of the Chalice. We can't find anything. Yeah, we have at least 2 turns of taking damage before we get to do anything. Just the big 7-drop guy. It's the Micro Spawn. Yeah, we're just going to scoop to that one. Yeah, we got absolutely crushed there. We had very little time to do anything. We don't get to like just keep doing redraws of 7. We need that time to sculpt, and the decks are just not giving. Well, this deck is just not going to give us any time to do that sculpting. Let's go to round 3. Okay, so this is the hand where we can go and get basic. We can cantrip our way towards a little bit more action. We've got some mana. This seems like the sort of thing we're supposed to be keeping. Doesn't matter which one we fetch now. They all fetch the islands, don't they? And they all fetch all of our jewels. I'll start with a ponder. Yeah, I'll take 2 more pieces of action. We'll leave the Burning Wish on top in case it gets Thoughtseized from our hand. Brainstorm from our opponent. This is an interesting Brainstorm. Just a turn 1 cold Brainstorm. Okay, so we have a choice. We can Brainstorm where we only get to see 1 card. Sorry, where we only get to see 2 new cards and then shuffle afterwards. Or we can shuffle first but then be stuck with whatever we've drawn for 1 more turn. I think I'm willing to just Brainstorm now and then shuffle. Alright, very happy to see this Duress. I will put away a land. So we're looking at here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can we do it all right now? If we put back both lands, we have 2 mana, 3 mana, so we can Duress, then Cabal Ritual. That takes us up to 3 mana. So hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it will take us up to 5 mana. Where are we getting the red from? Is a question. So we probably have to Cabal Ritual before. I think we can try and go here. And we can do like a big empty turn. We don't get the full Cabal Ritual mana at this point, do we? Have I made a horrible mistake? So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in graveyard. So we don't get to do the big Cabal Rituals. How big is our Cabal Ritual going to be? This is going to get us 3 mana. We use 2 of it for this. So we have 1, 2, 3 mana, 4 mana. I cast both of these with 1 floating. And then this is the extra mana for the other spell. Okay, yeah, that does work. Needs our Cabal Ritual to resolve here. Unmarked Grave, Brainstorm, Dark Ritual. So none of these things matter too much. The Entomb could just be used to cycle away. It's probably the Brainstorm we need to be dealing with here. I'm a little bit worried that they can Entomb an Atraxa though. And reanimate it somehow. So maybe it's just the Entomb that goes. Okay, so we play this one out. This is Storm 6. Then we hold priority. Crack this. Crack this for triple red. So we can do a... Yeah, this has to be triple red. Just we need to do an Empty the Warrens line here, right? That's the only thing that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of goblins. We need them to not put an Atraxa into play because the life gain of an Atraxa is brutal. There's also a Yorion deck. Yorion Reanimator. Lots of stuff going on over there. Alright, so we get to clock our opponent for 16. That puts them to 3. So that's going to turn off actual factual reanimate. Alright, let's ponder, see if we can find a piece of hand disruption. None of this is hand disruption. The Past in Flames is interesting, but I don't think we need that. The hand disruption is not going to matter here, is it? Does Past in Flames work with what we have going on here? Not really. If we put them back like this, and next time we can play this Infernal Tutor for anything, and then we can Past in Flames if they manage to do something that kills all of our guys. We can then go again from the graveyard because we have loads of stuff there. I'm very surprised if they can deal with all of these guys. Consider. Okay, so maybe they're like Doomsday as well? Or they're using this as like a way that they can Brainstorm and then consider to mill over a guy. Necromancy. They've got all of the reanimation over there. A Ponder. More cantrips. We've seen Dark Ritual, so they might be able to do something a bit more exciting with 1 black mana than first thought. Alright, they're going to 1, looking for extra cards. They did not use Ponder's shuffle ability. That suggests they have something that works here. They could maybe change some stuff into one. They just want to get some more information. That's reasonable. Might as well try and get the extra little bit of info you can. So, our opponent. We probably want to be just Thoughtseizing and Duressing our opponent. I don't know about the Flusterstorms. We didn't see counter spells. That doesn't mean they don't have them, but they were very, very heavy on the reanimation plan. So, do you want to bounce some spooky things that they might have? Or do you want to go for Xantid Swarm against their counter magic? It did not feel like they were a counterspell deck, though. They were quite heavy in black. They had Necromancy and Unmarked Grave. I don't think you can fit all of those on top of the normal reanimation spells and still have a blue count before Seville, even if you're a Yorion deck. So I'm going to assume they don't. The question is, do I want an Echoing Truth just as a hedge against something? I think I probably want a couple just in case. Now, if they play something like an Atraxa, I don't want to bounce it, but we could bounce it to get through with our little guys. But maybe they've got some sort of permanent that is going to jam us up, like a Leyline of the Void. Just having a couple of things that we can deal with that and then go through the graveyard makes sense to me. No mana outside of this Lotus Petal. I do not like this one. Lots of mana and a Brainstorm. I do like Brainstorms. Then we'll keep this one. I'm kind of debating getting rid of this Infernal Tutor. But maybe it's supposed to be the Ad Nauseam, and then we can just crack both these LEDs with this Infernal Tutor. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah. This is the turn 1 Ad Nauseam, right? So we do this, this, crack both of these, Ad Nauseam. Okay. I like that. We got there. We found the line. I hope I haven't missed any of those lines previously. I don't think so, but... Okay, Brainstorm. Just a turn 1 Brainstorm is so interesting to me. I guess they're on Lotus Petals. That makes some sense. Okay. A Thoughtseize. Okay, I would like to Brainstorm here, I think. We're going to take it a little bit slower so we can check our opponent's hand. Another Thoughtseize. We don't need this Echoing Truth right now. We can just get rid of this Infernal Tutor because that's next turn's problem. Let's Thoughtseize our opponent. They could Mindbreak Trap this if that's the thing they have access to. But we have an Ad Nauseam next turn. Personal Tutor. Dance of the Dead. Consign to Memory. Consign to Memory can counter one of our Lion's Eye Diamonds. That's pretty annoying. I think we take that. We've also got this Cavern of Souls. I really don't know what our opponent's doing. It's pretty cool though. So that's why they left up the petal there. Also, obviously they're not trying to storm us out, so they can just play these and protect themselves from hand disruption. So that makes sense too. So this is going to take a card from our hand. That's okay, we have the spare card. So now we get to Infernal Tutor. Then we'll make a load of black mana. Resolve our Infernal Tutor, go and get this Ad Nauseam. Alright, just going to draw a load of stuff and hopefully win the game. Tendrils of Agony, a Dark Ritual. We can stop. Can we stop here? So storm count is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've got 1 mana, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana. So that's enough to cast this, this, and this. That is just about lethal. So we can Duress our opponent here. They got nothing. Okay. So this is black. I hope I haven't made a horrible miscalculation here. And this is exactly lethal. So we get 10 copies plus the Tendrils itself. All right. I think we navigated that one really nicely, actually. Quite proud of myself on that one. I'm not very good at Storm, but we managed to put one on the board, and it felt pretty good. Let's go to round 4. Also, our opponent's deck was really sweet. I'm curious what else was in it. All right, let's go to round 4, I think it is now. Okay, what are we doing here? It's a lot of cantrips. Now, our opponent is known for playing Turbo Adepts. Big fan of their work myself. What am I doing with this hand? We got 2 kind of payoffs, but not really anywhere to go with it. We can probably mulligan for something a bit faster given the matchup. Okay. We have a little bit of disruption. We have a lot of mana here. I think we probably get rid of one Preordain because we only have the ability to cast one Preordain. But I'm going to Thoughtseize first in case we have access to... Alright, I was going to say in case we have access to blue source down the line. So, we're on a rainbow build here. We have two Not This World. We do not care about either of those. We have a crop rotation, which can go and find anything, obviously. We have a Sylvan Scrying, which can go and find anything, but is a little bit more telegraphed. The crop rotation is the most efficient way of getting mana here. However, the Spirit Guide does slow our opponent down quite a lot. But if we take out one of their tutors, they need two tutors at this point to win the game. So I think we just take out the crop rotation and everything should be face up from that point. They do not have... They have one Ghost Quarter likely in their deck to disrupt our mana base. There's a Gemstone Mine. Are we going to see a Spirit Guide? So there's an option to Spirit Guide and Sylvan Scrying here to go and get a land that can't be Thoughtseize out of the hand. The downside of doing that is that they might draw the copy of the same half, which isn't really where they want to be. Okay, I think we are going to Preordain here. A Lotus Petal and a Tendrils of Agony. It's not really getting us where we need to be, is it? So Storm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not close to enough. I think we put this on the bottom and I'll put the Lotus Petal on top because we need the ability to have our mana. The question is, are we playing around discard that our opponent has or do we need the Storm count? I think we need the Storm count, but we'll see if that comes back to bite us. Maybe we're supposed to play out just the Petal because it's our only blue source right now. But we're not like the Epic Storm. We kind of just go, we get all the resources you can imagine pretty much. Thespian Stage. Okay, so now they're going to Sylvan Scrying. Okay, I thought they were going to Sylvan Scrying right now for a Dark Depths, but they didn't. Maybe they've just drawn it anyway. A Polluted Delta. We just need a payoff card, really. We don't have any Surveil lands. Our opponent must know we're in the combo ballpark given what we've done so far. Here's the other Gemstone Mine. There is the Sylvan Scrying. I'm really interested in the fact they didn't do that last turn. Because that would have given them the out of drawing a crop rotation. Obviously we don't know what's in our opponent's hand. It probably makes sense. They know what they're doing with the deck. Payoff of some description, please. Not a payoff of any description. Okay. So next turn cycle they make a Dark Depths token. So we basically have one turn cycle to find some action. Now we've got a reasonable amount of mana here. Thoughtseize is not going to cut it here, is it? Let's Thoughtseize our opponent, just get some more information before this game is over. A Stifle. I will take this Stifle. If they make the 2020 here, which I don't see why they wouldn't, then we will scoop. Oh, they didn't do it. Interesting. Ah, they've lost connection. I see. Okay. Well, I'll take that win, I suppose. They've lost the whole connection to the entire match. All right, we're going to round 5. We are currently 2-2. Not really sure that we deserve that last one, but we'll see. Let's go to the final round. This hand is asking for Brainstorm to do some work for us, but if our opponent is playing some sort of deck that we need to punch a hole through, we definitely have the tools to do that. We also have some stable mana that we can rely on over a couple of these. I think we're going to keep this. We've got some actual lands, which is a problem we've ran into a couple of times. I think I want to Thoughtseize this turn. Just before our opponent can get some Brainstorm action going. Okay, we are looking at some sort of mono black thing. I don't really want to get Thoughtseized here. The Beseech the Mirror is kind of interesting. We can take that next turn if we want to. Let's just take the Thoughtseize. Do I play out the Lotus Petal to avoid hand disruption? I don't think so. I don't think the Lotus Petal is what I take anyway. I think I take the Brainstorm. I guess we could Brainstorm Response if we had the Petal. But then they're kind of getting 2 cards. There's a Swamp. So we have a little cat and mouse game around this Brainstorm right now. Because we know they got this Bowmasters and this Dark Ritual. We fire off this Duress. So we know they can play this Bowmasters off of this Dark Ritual. Okay, I'm going to... Oh, I have 2 Dark Rituals. Okay, so I guess we take the Beseech the Mirror because that's the thing that kind of scares me because there could be something that just ruins us entirely. They got 2 mana, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can just cast a Troll of Khazad-dûm next turn. That's a little scary. I think we can probably beat a Troll of Khazad-dûm. So we're going to hold up this Brainstorm until our opponent plays a Bowmasters or taps out. So they could just play a Troll of Khazad-dûm this turn. They are cycling a Troll of Khazad-dûm. I would like to Brainstorm in response. Not the exact tools I was looking for. We do need some more tutoring action for this to really work for us. I'm not a big fan of what I'm looking at here. What is the deal? So Past in Flames without a tutor doesn't do anything. So maybe we're supposed to bury the Past in Flames now. Even though we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Crack this. We have 3 left and we get to do everything again and then maybe do some pondering. I think we're better off just casting a ponder though. And just draw that land next turn. We can afford to take a little bit of pinging from the Bowmaster. I don't mind taking pings off of a ponder, but taking pings off of a Brainstorm is a bit much. Really surprised they didn't just Dark Ritual out a Troll of Khazad-dûm. I guess they didn't really know what we're about. So we know they have a Bowmasters that I'll happily jump on our ponder with. I have to make a decision right now. I don't think this Past in Flames is doing it for us. We don't want to cast that many cantrips either. So I think we're just going to get another Underground Sea here. We are pondering into the Bowmasters. It is known information. Enjoy your Bowmasters here. Dark Ritual. We're getting double Bowmastered. That would be a little bit more annoying. So more mana that we don't actually need. Another cantrip, which obviously comes with a price. We definitely don't want these. Do we want this? Can we afford to take the hit here? So if we cast this, then their Bowmaster... So we're about to take 1 and go down to 15. And then we take another 1 and go down to 14. And then we're going to get bashed by this for 10. 10 is so much. Alright, I think we still have to do it though. Actually, no, this isn't the ponder, this is the Preordain. This is the ponder, isn't it? So we want to shuffle this. Okay, we do the Preordain anyway. I do think we have to fire off this Preordain. I don't think we can have either of these. Lotus Petal. Okay, we're going to need to find some action. I wonder what they're doing with the rest of that mana. Like, why do they Dark Ritual? Are they playing around a daze? Seems like a weird thing to play around from the... I guess they haven't seen that much stuff, but Duress is usually a giveaway that somebody's doing combo-y stuff. They have a Waste Sand. They haven't fired it off yet. So we're going to go to 10. Past in Flames should be lethal, I think. We can still cast it because he's Lotus Petals. Actually, no, it won't be lethal. We need to actually find a win condition. That's the problem. Sorry, Past in Flames isn't lethal. We need to find one of our tutors or the Tendrils itself. We could do like a little mini Tendrils and buy a lot of time. Maybe shut off some graveyard lines for our opponent, but we don't have a lot of time left in this one. Ad Nauseam not looking like a good draw at all anymore. I will play this land out, I think. More mana is not a bad place to be. I think that's going to be better than trying to Brainstorm it back, because Brainstorm is just lights out for us. So we're going to go to 2 here. So we need to find... What do we need to find? Infernal Tutor. We can probably do some Infernal Tutor chains. We have a lot of mana, so we can probably do that to win. Come on, deck. A Brainstorm. We can't win over the top of the Bowmaster pings, can we? I think we just have to scoop it up. That felt pretty horrible. Let's try again. So our opponent probably has some amount of Leyline in the Void stuff. So the Echoing Truth seem useful there. They have discard of their own. Maybe we trim a couple of Preordains for these Echoing Truths. Do I want Xantid Swarm to stop them flashing something in? I don't think so. Do I want more bounce spells? So that's the primary way they're probably going to interact with us, is by putting permanents into play. I think so. I think this is better than going down the Abrupt Decay route, because all of these can hit Leyline if that's the thing our opponent's doing. Now, we're not cold to Leyline entirely, but it's definitely something we're going to want to have some response to. Okay, well this time we have lots and lots of Infernal Tutors, but nothing to do with them. A very different problem to have. I don't think we can keep this one either. Okay, we can keep this. We'll put a card back if we... So what could we do on turn 1? We could go... Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. So that's 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana. Not enough. So could put back the Duress, and then on turn 2 we can make a bunch of goblins. That gets round any sort of ley lines our opponent has. Yeah, okay. I'll deploy this Polluted Delta. I kind of want to crack it to play around Opposition Agent, but I also don't want to crack it to play around Wasteland. So it's kind of pick your poison a little bit there. A Chrome Mox. I suspect our opponent is also on the Helm plan. Alright, there's the Wasteland that we're playing around. Good. Am I just going to make a load of goblins? Infernal Tutor. So 2 mana, 3, 4 mana, 5, 6. Burning Wish, empty. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 goblins. That's a 2-turn clock. Don't think it's getting better than that here. Well, they do have... Oh, what a... Okay, that's a Bowmasters. That's fine. It's not fine, but take it. So the other option we have here is to try and Infernal Tutor. The problem is our opponent can shred us with this Wasteland. So I think we're just supposed to go here. Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual. Oh wait, no, we can't empty here, can we? Oh no, I made a horrible error here. Oh no. What a misplay. How do we recover from this situation? How do we recover from this situation? Oh, okay. We were bound to have an embarrassing punt at some point in this video, and here we are. We don't have the red mana for the empty. Doing a little Tendrils here does not feel like a good situation to be in. What about Infernal Tutor? What do we do with Infernal Tutor here? It just finds us another Burning Wish. We could Burning Wish for a Preordain or something. That seems so bad. What a horrible, horrible punt this was. Could Massacre their guys. That doesn't seem very good. If we do like a little Tendrils, we end up with... What, am I really thinking about doing a little Tendrils here? If we do a little Tendrils, we get to have a lot of life to work with. So we have a lot more turns in this game, which is kind of the thing we need to buy ourselves. I'm really convincing myself that I need to do this. Yeah, okay. Disgusting. I hate this. What a terrible, terrible play. Double Wastelands over there. So we've got life. So we've got some draw steps. That's all we've got going for us right now. Oh dear, oh dear. Our opponent's only on 8, so we only need like a little Tendrils chain to kill them. But boy, howdy does this feel bad. It's entirely my fault. We should have just not done anything and sort of waited. But we were going to lose our... Were we going to lose our Black Source, or did we shoot for it? I can't remember now. But yeah. Not feeling very good about this one. But we have time. You've got to believe in the heart of the cards. That's what we're doing right now. We've got all these cantrips we can fire into this Bowmasters as well. Okay, we have this Duress that we can't get out of our hand without exposing ourselves to a Wasteland. So that's lovely. Alright, we'll take 2. I'm a bit worried about them having a Helm here. Would they have just played the Helm if they had it? They probably would have, right? We'll take 2 here. If this is the Helm plus activate and they were just sandbagging to make sure they could activate it, then fair enough. Dark Ritual. Okay, we're going to see a troll. Could be a troll. It is a troll. So we could give up a land to buy a few more turns. Oh, we are not that far away here though, are we? So Infernal Tutor, crack LED is 3 mana and 2 spells. So we don't need that much more. Alright. We're going to hopefully leverage our life total here. What a silly, ridiculous game. That's not it. Okay, so we take in 8 here. So we don't get another turn after this. So we're going to have to Echoing Truth if we don't have anything going for us. We need like... Dark Ritual's probably not good enough. I'm not going to be sad to see it. Oh wow, we could bounce both of these. And buy us some more draw steps. We could Infernal Tutor for lands I diamond, but we'd be dead. Maybe we could have done that last turn, but then how are we going to get the payoff? We'd have to draw the payoff. Get out of here, Troll of Khazad-dûm. They are going to take our Infernal Tutor and almost certainly win the game because of it. Goodbye land. Goodbye trolls, at least. They are going to 6. That is a whole less storm that we need. So we take 2 this turn. If they don't play another threat and we draw lands I diamond, we can win the game. Okay, lands I diamond. Actually, no, that's still not enough, is it? We need 1 more mana, actually, don't we? Oh, mass is so hard. Used to be good at mass. Once upon a time. Beseech the mirror. GG's. Alright, so we finished with a 2-3 record, and one of those was our opponent sort of disconnecting when they probably had lethal. So, not ideal. So not a very good showing from the deck, but I think a more important thing is probably not a very good showing for me. Like, we definitely punted that last round. We could have just held back for a few more turns and go when we had to. But this deck is quite difficult to play, knowing like when you're supposed to go and what your spots are. And sometimes you just sit there in the wasteland of not drawing anything, right? We had loads of times where we just needed to find our payoff and couldn't find it, and that was pretty bad news for us. So how do I feel about this deck? Now, my comments on this deck are obviously going to be limited based on my very, very limited amount of time playing Storm, but it's more about my time playing decks into Storm is where I'm going to be drawing a lot of my information from. So this deck is a slower Storm deck. These cards mean you're playing slower, right? So playing a slower deck in a format that is 50% combo feels like a bit of a weird position to be in. Like, the Epic Storm is faster and more explosive, and I think is just the better Storm deck, to be honest. Now, it's obviously very hard to play and plays quite differently to Ad Nauseam Tendrils. And you don't have all these cantrips to sort of bail you out, but we don't have the time to bail ourselves out. So we had like 1 turn to cantrip against Eldrazi and it wasn't enough. So that's a real issue that I'm seeing with this deck. And leveraging your life total, when you have so much Stompy around, can be a bit worrying. So like Mono Red Stompy and Eldrazi are very popular decks right now. So if you're trying to Ad Nauseam, the amount of turns you get to Ad Nauseam decrease a lot every single... the amount of cards you get to draw from Ad Nauseam decreases a lot every turn because they're bashing you with whatever, or, you know, draining you out with their Flesh Rakers or Broadside Bombardiers-ing you. So I'm just not a big fan of this one. Now, if you are someone who has lots and lots of reps with this deck, you're going to have a much better time than I did. This is definitely a deck that massively rewards you for understanding and knowing the deck. I'd say Storm decks are one of the single best examples in Magic history of having a deck that rewards you for having lots of reps and understanding and playing with it. And that's just something I don't have. I've never been a Storm player. It is like playing a different game sometimes, and it's very difficult. And we just did not quite get there today. But we showcased it off. A lot of people have been asking me on social media to play some Ad Nauseam Tendrils. So here we are. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope I at least gave you a laugh with my horrible punt in that last one. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers for my birthday at the start of April, so why not hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths, as well as 3 tiers of support. A low-cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month, as well as regular articles, and lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above, as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.